thing, I guess.
That's like being clear on your values and what really matters to you, and then prioritizing your time
Yeah.
on that basis.
Yep. And
You know?
it. I one of the things I wrote a couple books that I give away for free because they're more outline form and they don't have the narrative glue in them, which is great for smart people because smart people don't need the narrative glue. They just need to be told what to do, and if they like it, they just do it and they get the better results.
Hmm.
So if someone says like work out first in the morning so you don't miss any, right? Because things you put at the end of the day you might just not do, but the thing
Sure.
you do the first thing that you wake up, it gets done because there's nothing
Right.
else in the way, or it's
Right.
the most likely to get done. So, a smart person doesn't have to hear a story about Joe and his plight and how this helped him and all that shit. He can just take the good idea and run with it. Like a lot of the books you read, they really boil down to like maybe 3 or 4 good ideas you could actually use. And
Hmm.
what was the rest? What really was the rest?
Well,
You know?
filler for the publisher, I suppose, to make it a book.
And you may enhance the virality for you feel more comfortable recommending a book that just isn't so transparent. That's like here's 400 pages. It really just means do these 3 things. So anyway, in the book, I try and get people to focus on things at scale. So if you have a business, like I used to have a retail business, and we did maybe 350,000 a year gross, and maybe my take home on that was like 150 or 175 or something. This is when I just got out of high school, and once you have maxed out your local area and you're even reaching slightly outside your local area to get customers,
Hmm.
well, you're maxed out. So what do you try and do? You try and offer different brands, different services instead of just retailing the product. You'll also do installation. Try and team up with people. Like we sold car stereo, so we would try and the guys across the street would sell rims. Hey, you're all here for car stuff. Look how close we are, right? So to each other, like it's like a mall, right? Oh, you're already here for earrings. Get a necklace too, or whatever, right? But for
Hmm.
cars in this case, then once you've maxed out your local geographic area, you're screwed because if you want to scale, now you've got to reach out into another geographic area, and it doubles all your costs. So your marginal cost to add a new customer becomes extremely high because you have to get a new manager at a new location and to get a new lease that's multi-year and a bunch of other crap to hopefully make almost as much money as you did in the first place.
Right. Because you've saturated that local demand, and then
Right.
you basically have that whole cost base again to go to a
Yep.
new locality.
Right. And it's more likely to run inefficiently because the founder's not there, and
Mm,
being the founder helps. So
sure.
if depending on what kind of founder you are, I guess if you're a hands-on kind of guy, it helps. If you're a talk about fishing all day kind of guy, it probably hurts. So if you do things at scale instead, you're doing the same work, right? So let's say you're choosing your retail price structure and you're doing like cost plus 40%, cost plus 100%, depending what brand it is. You've already done that work. You already set your pricing. If you do that in a larger market, like on the internet, you still only have to do that work once. You still have the same number of products. You still have the same,
Mm,
or same or similar pricing structure. And so your slogans, your advertising, your logo, all of that work that you do once, it doesn't matter how many people you serve customer-wise. It
mm.
doesn't matter how wide your market is. It plays across a larger audience.
And
So
it's
if
a
you can,
leverage.
yeah, So if you're going to do the same work, it's like how much difference is there between putting the work in to make $1 million business and $1 billion business?
It's
Fuck
a good
all.
question.
There's really nothing. There's really no difference. The difference is which industry you chose, right?
Hmm.
So like the amount of work it takes to build like a really tiny computer case, it's probably about the same it takes to build a really good website for anything, right? And then
Hmm.
it's like, so you want to do the thing that scales. And that's one of the great things about digital currency or writing a book or having a social media presence is that instead of speaking one-on-one and trying to convince someone, fuck that guy. Let him watch the YouTube video with 49,000 other people. Then, you're doing the same work, doing the same convincing, except you're automatically doing it through technology 50,000 times stronger. And then that virally grows, right? So maybe the one
Hmm.
guy you had a conversation with will talk to one other guy, maybe. But when you talk to 50,000 people at a time, pick up 100 users a day new just from doing nothing, right? Just because the world's really big and it's got a lot of people in it. And if what you're saying is of value, then it'll spread virally, you know?
Hmm.
In this ecosystem, it's a little harder because it's so small. Crypto is very, very tiny. If I did a keyword review channel, I'd have more viewers. but
Keyword review? What's that?
you're unlikely to become a billionaire on keyboard reviews. But I'm likely to be a billionaire on crypto. So it's like
What's a keyword review?
keyboard review. Like
A
hey,
keyboard.
look,
Like, oh, you mean
we
music?
got
Oh,
a
those.
we got a zebra print die sub, which means die sublimated, PBT spacebar.
Oh, you mean like a
Fancy.
tech tuber, like reviewing computer parts?
Yeah, because there's millions of people that are interested in it. So
Yeah,
the
millions.
the number of people that are interested in crypto is at least 1,000-fold smaller than the number of people that are interested in consumer electronics.
Yeah, totally get it. Totally get it.
It-
Okay, that's great. Can I talk to you about this?
Yeah.
That's been this is the reason I'm not a billionaire yet, is because so far in my business career, I've insisted on going into markets that have real benefit to humanity. So
Right.
if I could sell, I don't know, stuff that destroys people like junk food, stuff like I've never been able to bring myself to enter those markets, right? So
Yeah, it is, you will make more money being not like, you'll make more money giving people what they want or what they think they want
Exactly.
than doing the
That's
harder
exactly it.
thing of giving them what they should want and then making them want it. So that was what the iPhone was. So if you would have asked people when the iPhone came out what they wanted, they would have said a better phone with buttons. They would have never, ever said a phone without buttons, ever.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to be given a better thing and then taught to like the better thing. So if you can do that, it's superior. It's just like charity, right? Like there's medical research charities that cure diseases and, might save your life. And then there's poetry charities that just care about people writing poems. And the poetry charities get millions of dollars a year. Now it's like, do I give a single solitary fuck about poetry? Not really. Maybe I should, but maybe I could figure out how to like poetry better with my extra couple of years of survival that I got from medicine, right? And what you learn is like the world works better when everyone tries everything. Like that's what evolution is. So evolution is selection pressure against randomization. That's all it is. And, if you had everyone just care about medical research, the world would suck more.
It would.
So you do need people to want to do everything. Maybe I'd like to see those ratios a little better, like less
I was
F1
going to say
racing.
it's the distribution that's the
Yeah.
problem, right?
Yeah, I mean, my grandparents are dead, and I didn't do anything to help them. And my parents will probably die in the not too far future, probably less than 20 years. And then what? I'm going to follow them like 20 or 40 after, maybe 50. That's stupid. Like that's not ideal. Like let's put up a fight, right? Like the Grim Reaper's coming to kill us, and everyone we love and everyone we know, all of our pets and all of our family. We can fight that shit, and we can do it with the best technology we've ever had as a species ever. And we do cure things, and they stay permanently cured. Hey, let's fight that front, So that's where I want to end up. Like building crypto is amazing, and it's something that scales harder than anything else, and it's the largest market ever, and a bunch of really optimal things there. But it's unlikely to save my life. It's unlikely to extend my health span. It's actually likely due to stress to like shorten my health span. So I want to do it well, and then transition to something more meaningful, which is saving the lives of my loved ones and myself through technology. Because who better to do it than you, right? Like you care about you. Okay, well, get more smart people to work on stuff that might help you. That's it.
I was just
right?
going to say, like each of us have our own sort of vision of how we would like the world to be, which is based on our own values. So, and of course, your responsibility is to espouse your values and enroll people in the world that you see. Because I've heard you say this quite a few times. How many of the people that have made fantastic, ridiculous amounts of money are actually reinvesting in their own future, in terms of like, Mr. Billionaire. What happens one day when you finally get a terminal disease and you didn't invest one single shilling in the medical research that would have saved your life?
Yeah,
And
and you
it's-
see this all the time with amongst the smartest, most successful people. I mean, Bill Gates saves a lot of lives in Africa. I don't live in Africa. Or do I? I don't tell anyone. But it's like, I'm unlikely to get malaria. I'm unlikely to get sickle cell anemia. I'm unlikely to get AIDS. So I'd rather see resources spent on things that I am likely to get: heart disease, cancer, right? Those also just happen to be the top 2 killers of human beings at 80%. So if you believe in Pareto efficiency, that's a good place to spend your money. Although I have a tip for you, and that is that if you cured cancer or heart disease, you'd only live 3 years longer on average, because there's symptoms of a decaying system. So if you can do regenerative medicine that reverses the decay of the system, you get benefits in both those places. So if I can get you more than 3 years by diet, exercise, metformin, you name it, it's better than curing cancer. I don't think most people know those numbers. Well, I know they don't because I quizzed them.
You're talking about a more systemic solution than just a remedial disease cure.
Yeah, because if you cure cancer, you just get the next thing. And if you cure heart disease, you just get the next thing. So if you don't want that next thing to just kill you, you have to get rid of the things that are causing the next things, right? So it's there's only 7 reasons why you age. You have junk inside your cells or outside your cells. So inside your cells will be the buildup of lipofuscin, which your lysosome can't break down, usually because it has 7-ketoglycerol in it, which your lysosome doesn't have an enzyme to break down, but other animals do. So you could transgenically integrate the ability to generate that enzyme into your lysosome through using, CRISPR and gene editing, stuff like that. And you've got junk outside your cell, like the arteriosclerotic plaque on the insides of your arteries, which eventually clog up and kill you, give you a heart attack. You've got too many cells and too few cells. Too many cells would be cancer. Too few cells would be, your brain cells die, they don't come back. Your hearing cells die, they don't come back. Then you've got mutations in your mitochondrial DNA and in your nuclear DNA. A lot of people don't know this, but you actually have 2 sets of DNA in your body, and only one of them usually comes from both your parents. Your mitochondrial DNA usually comes from just your mother. So there's actually a mitochondrial Eve, some number of hundreds of thousands of generations back, that was the single female human being that was the parent to all of us, which is kind of neat. Apparently we were down to like 600 people during the Ice Age, which is, interesting to see that we really almost did what 99.9% of all other creatures have done, and that is become permanently extinct. Which is another interesting point, because if you're focused on, climate change, you also have to think, well, actually, we are going to get hit by an asteroid, and it will kill everything on this planet. So
at some point in time,
yeah. So the human beings have to redirect those things before they hit us. We're not even really doing a good job looking for them right now. So it's I'd be willing to make some sacrifices to the health of the planet now if there were reliable payoffs 10 or 20 years from now that would allow us to catch and move. It's the study of existential threatening events, X events they're called, is interesting. It's more interesting than, say, interplanetary redundancy with like trying to fly to Mars, which is what Elon wants to do. Elon studies AI, which is an existential threat, high risk, high reward, and he also studies getting to space, which helps maybe some people survive that aren't me on a planet I don't live on. I would rather put all my eggs in one basket and watch that basket carefully than reduce my resources here, send half my family to another planet, and then if, hey, we all get destroyed here, maybe they survive. Well, fuck that. Like, I don't want to get opted out of the game, right? So I'm not really happy with how Elon or Gates is spending their philanthropy money. But if your option is for them to spend it that way or not be philanthropic at all, it's better that they do that, right?
Sure. So the question is, how do we reconcile all of these conflicting incentives and all the different desires of human beings? Because you've got this value system, like the value of Bill Gates spending money on malaria, and you said Pareto distribution, statistically you're more likely to die from cancer or heart disease, so you'd much rather him spend his money on those kinds of things. And it's a very meta way of looking at it, because you would go, okay, so you're valuing, or people would say to you, oh, well, Richard, what about all the people that are now going to die from malaria because you redirected the flow of those funds, right?
Well, there's a study that addresses this question. It's called effective altruism. And I could just derive, so all progress is basically made an analogy. So if I want you to understand a new idea, I find out an idea you already understand, and I speak to you in those terms.
Go ahead.
So, do you leave your front door unlocked? Do you give people that aren't your kin as much money as you give people that are your kin?
No.
If you care about your kin more than you care about random people, and that's how you spend your money, almost every family spends its money. That's the concept of family. The
Got it.
concept of family is these people matter more than everyone else.
Right. Got
So
it.
as long as people believe in family, and as long as people have immigration policies, which mean fuck off 100%, you can't live here unless you married someone that lives here already. We want to work you, or you're going to school here. That's it. Otherwise, you can entirely fuck off. That's the immigration policy of every country in the world. So since we
Say this
already,
again. I like this. You can marry somebody.
yeah,
You got to be at school,
yeah.
or you got to. What was it?
You hit our job targets. Like
Oh, you got
like in Australia, you have a point
work,
system
right.
where they
That's
assign
right.
points to different skill sets that aren't well represented, right? And then, so, oh, you need more nurses this year? They get higher points, they're more likely to get in. But if you're not a nurse, you ain't more likely to get in, right? If you're a job that's already, filled up and, doesn't have high demand, you're less likely to get in. It's a meritocracy. It's pretty smart.
Totally.
Yeah,
It's smart.
I believe in meritocracies. So, and that's evolution. Evolution is selection pressure plus randomization. Your point system is selection pressure. So, I could tell someone very easily, well, look, you care about yourself more than others, and you care about your family more than random people. So why don't you just have your altruism affect it's very obvious what you really care about. You just look at how your wallet is, right? If you want to know what people really care about, you look at how to spend their money.
I agree.
So
Totally agree. I always say that. It's, look at people's spending patterns. That's basically them expressing themselves, and they can't deny it. How you spend your time and how you spend your money.
Yeah.
You can't lie to me about what your values are because it's right there in your actions and behaviors.
Agree.
And some people don't even realize that. They don't realize who they are. So
Yeah.
when you point that out, they go, "Oh my God, I didn't realize I was that. I didn't realize I was spending 40% of my income on alcohol or whatever."
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, self-awareness is not where people start. It takes a while. It takes a long time for people to figure out that there's a world that influences them and that they influence, and that there's a cycle of iterating back and forth, right? You care about, you change what you care about, you hang out with different people, you get different job opportunities, you hang out with different people, you get married to different people. Like it's good to make small adjustments in the beginning, because as you change your angle in the beginning, the longer you continue down the path, the wider and wider you went from where you would have otherwise been.
So you mean
Assuming
like,
linear line
yeah,
for the example.
So you're saying the earlier you get, you're enrolled in the idea of self-awareness, the more compounding that effect can be.
I wouldn't say that self-awareness is that important. What is important is correct action. And if you're like a lot of losers are self-aware, and they're okay with losing, right? So a lot of people, well, I mean, look, if people do, like there's monks that spend all their time on the journey inward, not helping anyone else, not building science, not building technology, not building infrastructure. And so you take the people that are the best at the journey inward, which you could say would be Tibetan monks, and then their neighbors, China, who aren't into that shit, just crush them. Because why not? They're just sitting there wearing a fucking robe, blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, we're just going to take your girls and your stuff and your land, and you can just keep sitting there doing la, 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 right? Like, so there's a lot of people that choose to be losers and absolutely love it. Now, there's a bunch of Tibetan monks somewhere going, one day that Richard will stop calling us a loser, maybe. He seems like a nice fella.
Hold up. Did you just put the Tibetan monks in the category of loser?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Because they do not make the world a better place by being here. What exactly is better since Tibetan monks have been around? Maybe you could learn a little bit about adjusting your internal body temperature through conscious thought, as though your body temperature were really something you needed to optimize. Maybe you could learn some strategies for stress management. Maybe. All right, well, we got this. Are we planning on getting anything else out of these guys over the next 100 years? Nope. They're just, they if their teeth are fucked up, boy, they hope dentists somewhere fixed it and figured it out, because they're not working on dentistry, right? And they get heart attacks, well, I hope someone else fixes it, because they're not working on that shit, right? Like, there are people that waste their lives. I wasted 10 years of my life playing video games.
Yeah, I've heard you say that.
And you know how many people are doing that right now? Everybody. There's more money in video games than movies. Movies have an end. Video game, they can keep you grinding, doing the same thing over and over and over again, like a monkey. Worse than a monkey. Monkey would get bored of that shit.
When I ask you questions, it's not because I'm dumb, right? So if I mean, it's because it's a genuine objective question. So what's wasteful about playing computer games? And I'm not defending computer games.
Well, they're different. Not all games are the same. If a computer game has an end and it's a better narrative experience, then it's superior, right? If you can participate in a story instead of just reading it, that is better. So certain games can be better than books or film. There are other types of games that do not have an end, and they do not have a good narrative arc, and they abuse your dopamine hit for quick
rewards.
Exactly.
Got it.
And even intermittent reward. And they have psychologists that tune the music to the note of C like a slot machine, and a lot of sexual imagery. They get your peer group stuff in there, so you're a member of a clan, so now your clan has a thing that you have to do every week or else you let your buddies down. So they work every psychological angle to fucking take all of your consciousness away and delete you as a human being and make you a slave to their engagement metrics, where they make more money the more hours you spend looking at their app. So you're going to spend all of the hours of your life looking at that instead of doing anything that really matters, anything at all. Being a real human being, thinking your own thoughts instead of grinding out some gems and some gold to buy a night to drop on somebody else's town, to make them need to buy more gems and gold because theirs just got stolen. So it's terrible. It's what you do to an enemy army to demoralize them and ruin them and to confuse them and make them less effective. You'd make very good video games and send them into the enemy ranks and watch them all fall apart. So I mean, I love games so much that they were an addiction problem, but I know how bad they suck.
How'd you break out?
Well, you interrupt the old pattern, which gives you a window. Then you got to throw a new behavior in there that meets the same needs, even the hidden ones, at the same level or higher, right? So is it engaging? Can you feel like you won? You do it whenever you want. Depends on what needs were getting hit. And then you just keep doing that thing until it sticks. So you interrupt the old pattern, jump through the window, start doing the new pattern, and then reward it till it sticks. And then the easier you can make it to not relapse by changing your passwords, breaking the CDs, uninstalling it. So if you've got a multi-gigabyte game that takes a couple hours to download, break all the CDs and securely delete it, and then you've got at least another couple hours of not doing that while you wait for it to download again.
To going back.
Yeah, it's you got to make up for your own weakness, So if you're an alcoholic and you got just alcohol all around you, well, now you don't have to go to the store, right? And so at some point you could make it where it's impossible to relapse. You just live someplace where there's no electricity. Go play a video game now, buddy. You're gonna have to invent electricity and then invent computing, and so you can cheat and use less willpower in the midterm by using more willpower up front, by just breaking everything and burning the boats and such. It's better if you can just reprogram the meanings and not have to do all that stuff, but fuck better. Just do what works, right? So cold turkey works. All right, we're doing cold turkey.
But okay, willpower only goes so far because it's going to run out eventually.
Usually, yeah.
Totally.
But once you build a habit, the willpower is pointed the other direction. It's I want to lift weights. I want to lift weights every day, but my arm hurts because I've got golfer's elbow from lifting too much. So I just lifted again for the first time yesterday. I got some forearm wraps and fucking arm hurt again. I'm I guess I'm going to have to wait some more. So I'd lifted for long enough to switch the tendency to really want to lift. Whereas in the past, if you are used to not lifting, you don't want to lift. And so if you could do something for 90 days, it tends to become a lifestyle. And then you don't have to use willpower at all.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Don't need it anymore because it's just it's
a habit that you built. People are creatures of habit.
Yeah. And you just hit on something which is, I just wrote down, the ultimate scarcity of human attention. You're talking about collecting people's consciousness inside of a massive multiplayer online game, which has no ending.
Yeah, it's there's studies on it. They call it the conscious economy, and
the conscious economy.
Yeah, and they know about this. There's only 3 or 4 apps you're going to spend all your time on your phone, and if you are one of those 3 or 4 apps, you get billions-dollar unicorn status, And if you're not one of those 3 or 4 apps, you don't get to be $1 billion unicorn. So and then Facebook just keeps hacking the game because they buy everyone that could replace them. So there's usually an S curve. A new thing comes along, gets adopted, and everyone does it, and then something better comes along, new S. So maybe WhatsApp could have replaced Facebook, so there's bottom. Maybe Instagram could have replaced Facebook, so there's bottom. And they just keep buying. I think Flickr is owned by Instagram too, or no?
How do you
No, it's
seduce
not.
someone
It's
away
owned by
though?
Yahoo. Different.
Because if someone's playing a massive multiplayer or role-playing online game,
Mm-hmm.
if they're doing their evil job properly and fulfilling all of your needs,
Yeah.
dopamine needs and so on,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be real hard to incentivize someone out of that system into a new S curve.
People do tend to get bored of digital games. They haven't found a way to make the next game not as compelling. But people do stay
to make the next game.
Sure. So in your model, you're comparing the digital world to the analog world. And what I'm saying is if you add another player in that game, which is a second digital world, people tend to migrate from the first thing to the second thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So people used to play Team Fortress 2, and then they used to play Quake, and then they played Team Fortress 2, and then they play DayZ, and now they play Fortnite, and now they play Apex. Okay. Well, why do they keep changing? Because we care about the new thing, right? It's like porn. We made enough porn. Nope. Why? New girl is better. Oh, well then. And that's what we're programmed to do. We're programmed to hunt out and experiment and be curious. And so a new world that you haven't explored is always going to be more engaging than a world that you have, which is why we keep playing new games. So you'll always have a rotating new addictive environment. It won't always be analog versus digital. It's analog versus the first and second and third and fourth iterations of digital interesting things.
Mm-hmm. That's part of that evolutionary process that's underpinning it.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, as long as games are one of the most profitable, like there's 5 or 6 companies that make $1 billion a year net on video games. Mm-hmm. So that's a lot of money.
There's still something underneath though, because you called it the conscious economy. So why is it then that so many people, human beings, are choosing to use their conscious attention for what I would argue is something that doesn't really improve the world that we live in?
Well, it doesn't improve the world, but how much does the world improving really make you feel better? It's like some rich guy gets a bigger yacht, his world's improved. People that sold it to him made money, people that built it had nice jobs. Well, what did it do for you? Fuck all, right? Hey, they cured malaria. Okay, well, that's great. I don't know anyone that's got malaria. Don't know anyone that's ever died from it. Apparently, it's millions and millions of people. Sure, it sounds nice to fix it, but am I really going to feel it? Like, how long exactly would that malaria cure spice up my life? One night? What a great day, we cured an awesome disease. Like, this shit wears off, right?
Okay.
But if your clan needs you to raid tonight, well, that matters now, right? Like, human beings are optimizing for what's convenient and what feels good. And
to them personally, right?
Yeah, and personal improvement in the short term usually does not feel good, right? Mm-hmm. Working out hurts. If you're doing it right, it's at least discomfortable. So unless you have learned to enjoy discomfort, that's the reason most people don't work out. And that's the reason most people don't, they read fiction instead of nonfiction. Fiction makes you smarter. Nonfiction, I guess, is more fun. So there's nothing wrong with it. Like, I mean, look, I don't need to change how the humans are wired. I'm fine with marketing the way it is, right? Like, here's the human, here's how it works. All right, let's work around that. I don't have to try and reprogram I don't need to change the language that the program is running. Like, the human runs this program, okay, we would just work with that. I don't need to try and rewrite their operating system. I've already figured out what they like and stuff, so I'm good with it the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
You can marketing works, right? If you market healthier behaviors, people will do them. If you market more successful paths, people will take them. So we're not that bad. Human beings are still pretty good.
But a product of conditioning, right? So if the marketing and advertising tells people how to behave, basically, like the cult of celebrity or the cult of nihilism or whatever imagery and music videos is telling us, giving us a model of reality, that then we follow that, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas, like you say, if we switched it to what I would call a conscious marketing model, where it would be frowned upon to eat junk food and it would be celebrated to eat healthy food, if that whole would change the entire face of humanity,
Yeah. Yep. Agree.
And that's back to what I was saying earlier on, is that's me. I've never as a marketeer, that's what's been difficult for me, is that at the moment, I guess we're into Pareto distribution, the stuff that's going to evolve humanity in a positive direction is still on the 20% side of the Pareto distribution. Yeah. So automatically, if I want to promote a meditation product or something like that that's going to raise people's conscious awareness, I'm automatically at a 4-time disadvantage versus peddling something like pornography or something that's destructive but has a massive market. And my conscious
I like pornography personally. I think it's fabulous. Like pornography? Yeah, it's great. Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you look, man, there's some experiences in your life you are not going to get to have. So if you want to see what that looks like, that's your only option. It's like, let me know when you have your next 30 way. It's not going to happen, right?
Well, you've already decided that's not a possibility.
Well, I mean, it's a possibility, but to get 30 high quality people that want to bang you at once, that's an industrial effort. And I'm not sure you're cut out to actually do your part there. You might discover that it's actually a hard job.
Yeah. It doesn't really work with 30.
Yeah. So to say that pornography is bad would be to say that imagining is bad. It's just like assisted imagination. So I don't think imagination's bad, and I don't think stories are bad. And so what is pornography? It's a story about having sex, and sex is cool. So it's, I don't know how it gets such a bad rap. It's just people doing something fun on video. People like all the other videos of people doing stuff they enjoy, cooking, skiing. Okay, so why is the sex one so bad? It's not,
Well, it's because it's the same thing we just spoke about, which is it's a type of marketing, right? It's giving people a model for that they're going to want to go and act out in the world.
It doesn't work like that, because then crime novels would increase crime, right? And they don't. And if people did the things that they acted out in games, the school shootings would be infinitely higher, because everyone's going home and killing hundreds, if not thousands, of computer creatures a night, every night. And the world is the least violent it has ever been, statistically. So if you're just looking at correlation, video games apparently make the world safer. So this, I've done a lot of interesting shit in video games that I've not done in real life. And they're just, if you were practicing to do the thing in real life, then I think you would see more of it. But there is no similarity between hitting A and B on a plastic controller and actually killing people. They have nothing in common. People think they have something in common, but in reality they don't. If someone got you really mad, you're like, they don't die, right?
Right. You're able to express it in a digital realm. You got it.
Well, you're really just hitting buttons with your thumb. So, I mean, that's what you're really practicing, is button pressing. So you are better at button pressing, and you may even do it when you want something to change. You might try and click next, but it won't work.
Well, technically, I mean, in terms of reality, you are just using your thumb muscles to press buttons.
Yeah.
But that's not the way the gamer experiences it.
No, but it's what you're physically being trained. So it's like, do you get stronger lifting weights in a video game? No. Are you more likely to lift weights in the real world? No, you're not. It's just like bowling alleys. Did Wii bowling get popular? Yes. Did real bowling get popular? No. Well, this stuff's been studied, and it's just there's no correlation at all between violent video games and violent behavior, or porn and violent behavior. Some people like to think that there is to excuse their actions, like Ted Bundy, when his death tapes, before he was executed, he was talking about, oh well, I would have turned out fine if it wasn't for that porn. Yeah, sure you would, man. And he chose it, the porn. Other people choose it as the parents. Other people choose it as whatever, right? They don't want to take responsibility for their own actions.
So, tell me again, what was your problem with video games?
Well, they suck away all your consciousness. You have two things that you can be. You can be a copy of someone else's thoughts, or you can be your own thoughts. You can say your own words, or you can repeat someone else's words. And if you're always absorbing someone else's narrative, there is no you. You're not there.
Totally.
There's just someone else. It's just like when you argue with people. If you're the person starting an argument, you're creating inverted copies of yourself in everyone that you argue with. And they're forced to be opposite of whatever you say because they just want to win to seem significant. And they find it harder to become significant by adding to an idea instead of combating it. So whatever idea you have, they're going to tell you why it doesn't work. And whatever idea you have, they're going to tell you what you should have done better. But
what's their goal? To be right?
Well, to appear more important, right? So if your option is to shit talk or notice an exception, those things are easy. Everyone's a critic. Everyone can see an exception. But if your idea is to add to, that's harder. Adding to someone's idea is harder than finding the exception.
Sure.
Right?
Bit of creativity. Yeah.
And
you have
so
to tap your imagination.
Yeah, well, in the book, one of the first thing I put at the end is don't be slave to the devil's advocate. Don't be the devil's advocate. Let someone else waste their life being the opposite of someone else's idea. You be the guy that generates the idea, and let other people invert and have their lives dictated by your narrative, and be the first mover. So, whoever sets the frame is the guy that controls the conversation. And people look at it as though it's equal, but it's not. The guy that set the frame is super, super, super important. So, how many hours get spent on the internet talking about something somebody else got wrong instead of trying to build on what somebody else got right?
Right.
It's a lot because it's easier, So it's called bike shedding, basically. There was this commission on building a nuclear power plant. And what they discovered was that if you talk about really hard stuff, of which building a nuclear power plant consists a lot of, people won't comment and they don't have much to say. But if you talk about something simpler, like what color should the bike shed be, million comments. Everyone's got an opinion on what color that bike shed should be. And so it's funny, if you look at my engagement metrics on my Twitter, if I say, hey guys, what should the inflation rate in the currency be? Crickets. No one knows shit, right? No thoughts whatsoever. But if I say, hey guys, what do you think about the color on this logo? Hundreds of comments. Right?
That's the bike shed right there.
Yeah, it's literally the bike shed. Right?
That's quality.
So I keep doing it because, one, you really kind of need peer review to make sure that your logo is as good as you think it is, because your taste might be fucked up. And no matter how good your taste is, it just might be fucked up once, and you don't want it to be fucked up on your logo.
Yeah.
So, it is one of the places where the thoughts of the public in general are very useful. A/B testing and issues of aesthetic are very useful. But with other more technical things, they don't matter. Right? Say again?
In marketing, that's critical.
Yeah, it's winning or losing the game. I mean, do you want it matters. So, yeah, so the end game for me is I don't want to die of old age. I want to die by accident at around 600 if that's possible, which is statistically how it will work out if you cure aging. But obviously I'm not willing to diet too hard for it, so I need technology more than most. So I need the technology. And
that's interesting.
Yeah.
You almost want to turn death into a choice,
Yeah,
That,
pretty
that would be
much.
the way I would phrase it.
Why
Like,
not?
you know what I mean? Some people might choose, oh, 600, I'm done, right?
You can opt out
I've
whenever
done
you want.
everything.
It's
Right.
easy to die. Dying's really easy. 3 minutes without oxygen, 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food. Any of those will do it. And there's all types of other easy ways to be, you know, erased from the gene pool. It's like, the thing is, this is something that I understand at the intellectual level, but like at the emotional level, I don't care as much as I should. Intellectually, I know it's optimal play. Emotionally, I'd rather play video games. Feels better, right? I'd rather read about I'd rather read about electronics and fast cars and guns. I'd rather read about that and watch videos about that than work on medical research. So if you look at my YouTube suggestions, ain't no suggestions for no medical research on there. A lot of suggestions for guns and cars. So emotionally, I'm wired for the old world. Intellectually, I know what I should care about, right? So it's...
But the reality is that you don't.
Well, I mean, I did write a couple books, called Scivive, How You Can Survive Through Science, that are built to create a movement to get people to care about these things. So I've gone a lot farther than many, and that's through harsh willpower force. I forced myself to make that progress.
Well, that sounds like you're fighting against another part of yourself, though.
I am. We all are. You have multiple conflicting desires.
Sure.
And you only have one amount of time. And it's the only thing we all have the same. We all have the same time. We have different opportunity. We have different skill. We all have the same time. So I've been able to do very well to force myself to do things that short term don't feel great, but midterm and long term are awesome. Like,
I totally get it. Totally get it. My strategy, if you like, for this has been primarily through meditation. Is what shall I use? Dissolving one by one all of the stuff that's pushing back against the direction I want to go in, because then those parts, like the real I, the me, wants to go this way, but conditioning stuff that I've learned from the world and my intellect is like pushing back, right? So my goal has not been to power up the motor anymore or add turbos or anything like that. I've done it from the other end. Literally, just over years and years and years, I've dissolved the resistance coming back at me. And
seems viable, sure.
It works. I mean, I'm telling you, from my experience, it actually works.
Yeah.
And the effort level's the same. It's just a case of I'm almost like dialing down gravity, bit by bit by bit.
Yeah, there's other things that work, like having a better peer group or having a better why instead of how, or meditation work. Like there's a lot of shit that works. Getting a coach, like all those things work. So yep, yes, if you spend effort changing what you want by adding to the greed or subtracting from the fear, both works, And not everyone operates from just greed and fear. So everyone has a different value profile. So if you listen to how Tony Robbins likes to put it, his way isn't the best way. I like my way better, but I'll tell you his. His is that you've got 4 needs of the personality. They are certainty and variety, which are paradoxes. You want to eat different food all the time, but you really prefer that the ceiling stay up there. And if the ceiling starts falling down around you, you're not going to be comfortable speaking anymore. So you need certainty and you need variety. You also need significance and connection, and those are also a paradox. If you come into a room and you tell everyone how much more money you got than them and how much smarter you are than them, and I get this a lot, they remove connection and they hate you, right?
Right.
But only at a distance. As soon as they think they can work with you, they fucking love you. It's a strategy. They treat you worse at a distance in the hopes that you'll treat them better. And then if they feel like they can work with you, they will make great sacrifices to do so, right? So growth, certainty, and variety fight each other. Connection and significance fight each other. And then these last two, which he calls the needs of the soul, are growth and contribution. And they don't really fight anything else. And they don't fight each other. And the more time you spend there, the more fulfilled you'll be. I don't think it's 100% accurate, but even though it's not accurate, it seems like a really good belief system to have to get progress. right?
Well, those final two,
Hmm.
they are actually arise from the the tension between the other two pairs. So when you, if you can get certainty, like internal certainty, and that gives you the power to embrace uncertainties, that's where growth comes from. That's what he
Agree.
says, right? And then he says
Well,
if
the
you
more
get
comfortable you are with discomfort, the more progress you can make.
right, and similarly, if you get significance from connection, that's what was the other spiritual need?
Uh, Connection, significance,
Contribution,
and
was it?
certainty, variety. The soul ones were growth and contribution. They
Contribution,
feel a
that's it.
little bit cheating because if you're in the business of selling growth, then, stick that one way high up there.
They've got an incentive to do that, right?
Yeah.
Is that I just so happen to have a product or service for that?
Yeah, right.
Well,
Now,
he's not gonna say anything otherwise, is he? He's not got an incentive to.
well, I think that if you want to learn success, you might as well learn it from the guy that was the most successful teaching success. So, like, who made the most money,
Hmm.
who influenced the most people, who's had his brand for multiple decades and has had almost no blowback. Like, oh, this guy did that terrible thing.
Oh, gotcha.
Almost none
I
of
was
that.
going to say that just means he's the best at marketing it, but he has to actually deliver for the reason you say, which
Yeah.
is he hasn't got massive complaints and refunds and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So the
Yeah.
stuff works, and it's some of the best live events you could ever attend. Like if you go to Date with Destiny, I think it's $3,000 to
Hmm.
go, and it's the best live event you'll ever go to, pretty much. And it's 80 to 90% right, and that's way more than you'll get out of other stuff. So
Hmm. Sure.
but I think there's more resolution in there. I mean, so the point is that not everyone has the same value system. Some people value adventure more than safety, which is why you have skydivers.
Yep.
Some people value safety over adventure, which is why you have hermits, which is a person that just lives far away from everyone else and doesn't really want to interact with anyone else. Well, how much adventure is that guy having? Well, fuck all. It's the same stuff every day for that guy, unless a bear comes, right? So you can change what your value system is if you fight to do so. It's not easy, but it's doable. So if you decide that you have to have a different value system to get where you want to go, you can make that happen. It just takes effort and time, right? So you decide, I need to be more comfortable with uncertainty. So I'm going to do this thing, and I'm going to get this peer group, and I'm going to focus on this is why I'm doing it. And if you do it for a while, that's your behavior, right?
Hmm.
Like I can go into a nightclub and meet fun people and have the time of my life. It wasn't always that way. It was a trained behavior. I was always fun and amazing with dudes, but I wasn't fun and amazing with girls.
Hmm.
Then I learned how to do that, and I'm great at it, and now it's part of my lifestyle. So you become what you practice.
Hmm.
That concept of like fake it till you make it, it's kind of real. Like if whatever you do often enough, that just becomes you. It's like
Hmm.
like apparently Andrew Dice Clay, like he just is that guy now, right?
Right.
Because it prefers to be that way. So they're all you. They're all just different styles of being, right?
Right. And that can change every moment. Like that's why I always say who you're being is how you're acting. So
Exactly.
I can act like an ass in 1 second, and I am the ass in that moment.
Yep.
But I have the freedom to switch that identity in the next second to be kind or
Yep.
whatever. Right.
You are not your behavior. You are not
Right,
your
but
behavior.
the key, and the reason why I'm such an advocate of meditation is it creates that flexibility.
Yep.
And for me, the only problem is if any of us get fixed into a particular way of being and have no choice to be anything else.
Yeah.
That's
That's what I try and do with people when I'm trying to get them in a bad state. It's just these techniques you can use. You can use a compulsion blowout where you try and get them to do the bad state harder until it seems
then
obvious how
explodes, right?
stupid it was. Like, oh, you're right, that was really stupid, right?
Right. Sure.
Or you could do like anchoring and collapse the anchors against each other, which is interesting. Or you could change their physiology, their focus, and their language, their triad, and you can get results that way. And actors do this with lion face, lemon face. They practice being really, high energy and really like low energy. And as you rotate through those cycles, it makes you more fluid with your behavior. So that if you want to be angry, you can be angry. And if you want to instantly stop being angry and be happy, you can do that.
Good
It
for
doesn't take
actors,
you
yeah.
as much time to switch between them. So the same skill sets that make you a better actor give you more emotional control over your life, and that's the quality of your life. The quality of your life is the quality of the emotions in your life. So, you know, I agree completely with what you're saying about building that flexibility to be able to do superior patterns of behavior by learning how to break out of shitty ones, by just showing, hey, look how easy I can break out of this if I want to, right?
Totally.
And so, like, once you realize that when you're in a bad mood, you're choosing to do that, and you could just do a different thing, it's interesting. You're like, oh.
But that choice, in my mind, comes from your level of awareness, because anything that's beyond your conscious awareness isn't a choice. It's running you.
Nah. So, I mean, all skill is unconscious skill. Driving a stick shift is unconscious skill. Dancing is unconscious skill. If it looks like you're trying hard to dance, it doesn't look good. So, you know, our subconscious is better at doing most things than we are consciously.
Oh, yeah.
That's why robots suck so bad. They go to grab a cup, mush the cup. Because unconsciously, grabbing a cup's actually extremely complex. Extremely complex. So complex robots can't do it up until the last, you know, couple of years. There you go. Yeah. And so conscious awareness is not actually that powerful. Having conscious awareness to develop practice to become unconsciously competent, that's powerful. So knowing you could be happy if you wanted to be, useless. Practicing being happy from states where you're unhappy, 100% useful.
Got it.
So if your prerequisite to developing unconscious competence is conscious awareness, then for you, it's very important. But you'll find there's tons and tons and tons of people that are extremely effective that have no fucking idea how they got there, and they can't teach it to you, right? Like guys that are naturals with girls. Ask them what they're doing. I'm just myself.
Unconscious competence.
Sure, you're just yourself, but I saw you do this and this and this and this and fucking that. Oh, I didn't even know I did that. You didn't, you know, like.
But as